Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of BSing Sports here on the BSing Network, where we do a little BS and we talk a whole lot of sports. I want you guys to know, little side thing here right before we get into it. If you could see the way we're dancing while that song is playing before we jump on here, you guys would crack up. I'm being serious. But yeah, anyway, it's obviously Wild Card Week was wild, as you know, in the name. We're moving on to Divisional Round playoffs.
That was so funny. Lame.
With me, as always, is Tim. And oh, there it is.
Make sure Tim goes back on the bottom where he belongs.
We knew this was coming, guys.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Moving past that comment.
Z Money. First one here. He showed up. Yeah, how about them Cowboys, baby?
Hey, they didn't look bad.
You know what? They beat the shit out of them. The Cowboys were the better team, and they showed it.
Yeah. So to Z Money's point last week, he said he'll be the first one on here on this show to tell us that we were wrong, and here he is telling us that we were in fact wrong.
Hey, man, you know what? Accountability, man. It's part of the business, right?
That's right. That's right.
We were wrong.
Speaking of accountability, our records as of thus are Tim at 172, 115, and 2, Ryan at 180, 108, and 2, and me at 191, 95, and 2. Let's lead us into a little bit of a drum roll. Tim has a big announcement.
To everyone in the BSing world, I am officially conceding to this gentleman's bet. I will be buying something Cowboys and wearing it, I guess, the next show. You guys want to say?
Good. Yeah.
And I hope the never mind. We get into our predictions.
Well, now you got to tell us how great we are and how grateful you are.
You have to talk us up. Like,
come on.
Tim's got to wear Cowboys gear. How exciting is that, loser?
To Ryan, the one true competitor that don't cheat.
Are you kidding me?
I would like to point out
to be fair, Bill,
guys, all year long. Just because I can't do math doesn't mean I'm cheating. I'm just not smart.
It took you till week 18 to use a calculator. You have one on your computer. You have one on your phone. You admitted multiple times you were terrible at math, and you still
math
let
is
your
hard,
pride
okay?
get
Math
in the way.
Is hard. It's my fault.
But,
math is hard.
No, it's not.
I want to say congratulations to my other two co-hosts. I will be back for vengeance next year. Count on it.
Doubt it.
Yeah, I'm not scared. Just so you know, not scared at all.
We're going to have a professional person who don't have access to this doc all the time like Bill does.
You guys have access to the doc. You're so quick to point fingers about how you lost. Just have accountability for how you screwed up and Ryan and I did better.
I conceded, didn't I? So I'm officially saying that I lost.
Yeah. While also trying to accuse me of cheating. Good try. Now,
my sister says, hey, you know what would be cool? If you guys had shirts with the podcast logo and wore them on the podcast and then sold them or had stickers.
Who said that?
Gabby.
My sister.
Gabby, I got a little office down here. You can come make all the shirts you want.
Ryan, I got an office over here. You come live with me.
We do have some merchandise. They are in the
real suspect. I think we need to get some football.
We do have some merch. We have some shirts. We have some hats. For those of you wondering, it's tough because I'm the only person making the gear. And Ryan's in Carolina, Timmy's in New Jersey. It's tough to put it all on me. So if you order stuff from us, we're obviously eternally grateful. It'll take a while to get to you, but I will get it out to you. But yes, Gabby, to your point, you're right. We should probably start wearing BSing shirts on the this here podcast. Yeah,
we can start that conference championship weekend because Tim has to wear Cowboys gear.
Yeah. Wait, I want to post this post real quick. Tanya Brand said, "Hey, big brother, you're supposed to defend your little brother."
Yeah, he's accusing me of cheating. Are you out of your mind?
I also think it's in the Big Brother bylaws that you're supposed to pick on him too.
And Norton, the fact that you're not watching the podcast is upsetting me.
Because he is playing a game now.
Yeah, I know. He just texted the group, said he's getting on. All right, but let's get to the reason we're all actually here.
I thought it was me conceding.
Oh, I know. I went back to it.
Yeah, that's the whole show. We're done.
Yeah. So Z Money, if you're going to be tuning in next week, you're going to see me in a cowboy gear. I don't know what I'm going to buy yet. I'm going to probably just buy a hat or something.
Tim or Bill, should we take this one step further and make him remove that Eagles flag as well?
No.
I think we do. Make it look like he's an actual Cowboys fan.
Culture.
Yeah.
I think he needs to embrace it.
He needs to kick his
Wear a cowboy
douchebaggery
hat
up.
with a cowboy jersey.
Yeah, he's got to kick his douchebaggery up, right? You got to
I
take
am
Eagles
not
down.
buying a damn Cowboys
Get you a
jersey.
shirt with Jerry Jones's face on it.
Get the hell out of here.
That would be awesome.
I'm gonna probably buy a hat and then burn it right afterwards and post them on the BSN network.
Dude, hey, I got the perfect bet. I got the perfect idea for you. Take Krogan up on his jersey bet when the Eagles beat the Giants. Just get him to buy you a Cowboys jersey.
I don't trust the spread. Let's get into it.
Oh, he wants to do it against the spread. Okay. All right, well, let's get into the first game. The first game is Doug Peterson's Jacksonville Jaguars visiting Andy Reid's led Kansas City Chiefs. The over-under is 52.5, and Kansas City is favored by 9 points. We didn't choose who was going to go first. Ryan, you got your little wheel thing ready?
I agree with Tanya.
I don't think it matters at this point, but I'll go first.
Yeah, all right, Mom. All right, Ryan can go first, then it'll go Tim, me.
She makes a good point. That's fair. While it would be a great Cinderella story for the Jags to pull this game out, right? I think that it would be awesome if the Jags won this game. I don't think that they do. However, I think a 9-point spread is a little bit disrespectful in my opinion, right? And I'm going to say this, and then I'll get into the context. I don't want anybody to take this out of context. The Kansas City Chiefs on the AFC side of the bracket have the least to play for out of all the remaining AFC teams. And I say that not that they're not the best. I don't think that they're going to lose by any chance. But when you look at the other teams, they have a little bit of extra motivation to kind of get them to win their game, right? You look at the Bengals, who feel royally screwed over. One, that the NFL is already advertising tickets to a Chiefs-Bills AFC Championship game. Two, because they potentially lost home field advantage to this game and then home field advantage in the AFC, which they were never going to get anyway. Then you look at the Bills, who are obviously playing for DeMar Hamlin, and you look at the Jags because that spread right there says everything. They're the underdogs. Everybody's counting them out, and Doug Peterson's been there before. So when you look at the Chiefs and you look at all these other teams' extra motivations, it's like, what extra motivation do the Chiefs have? I don't think that they have that extra spark. They don't really have that extra reason to play football. Doesn't mean they're going to lose. Doesn't mean they're going to come out flat. I just thought that was kind of an interesting perspective to look at the Kansas City side of things from. I do see the Chiefs winning. I don't see them covering 9 points. I think that this is going to be a shootout. I think that this is going to be at most a touchdown game. 41-34 was the first score that popped in my head.
So no defense.
I don't think the defense is coming to the party. Not in this game. There is a game on tap Sunday that the defenses show up to. It ain't this one. But yeah, no, I think the Jags are going to play so much tougher than a 9-point spread. I think, they've won 6 straight games. They're the right team. They're hot at the right time. Everybody talks about it all the time. They're hot at the right time. They have a coach who has won just as many Super Bowls as the other coach. I know Bill's probably itching to talk about that, so I'll let him get into that. But the Jags are playing great football, man. A 9-point spread? No way. I wouldn't bet on that at all.
Tim?
Yeah, I agree with Ryan over here. I'm sorry. I'm watching these comments of Z Money
and Tim Hawkins are going at it, and Eagles and a Cowboys fan going at it.
I love to see the comments, but Ryan touched on it pretty well. I'm taking the Chiefs to win. I don't think they'll cover the 9 points either. I do think it's obviously going to go over the 52.5 points. But like Ryan said, I don't. The Chiefs really don't have nothing to be playing for. Like, they got the 1 seed. and they've won a Super Bowl already with Patrick Mahomes. They want that. I bet they're doing like what the Eagles did with the Saints. Look to the next opponent. They're looking forward to next weekend already, and the Jags might be able to slip one out in the end.
Okay. I'm going Chiefs too. There's a couple things I want to touch on. First of all, the huge implications that is obviously the coaching tree of Andy Reid coming back to play him in the playoffs. Now he's had John Harbaugh, he's had Ron Rivera, he's he's got Doug Peterson. Andy Reid is 3-0 in the playoffs against his former proteges. And Doug Peter, let's be honest, Doug Peterson is probably his favorite of all of his proteges. Brought the guy in 98, 99 to be the backup / starter to Donovan McNabb at quarterback. Obviously, I'm referring to, and then he brings him in for a coaching job as soon as he stops playing football. I would have to go out on a limb and say that Doug Peterson's probably Andy Reid's favorite protege. Obviously, that's just speculation, just something I'm talking about here. Reid has faced his former assistants 24 times in his career, and he's 16-8 in those matchups. So he's got a winning record against his previous coaching, his previous proteges, and I think that continues here. So I am going to take the Chiefs. But listen, the Jaguars they were down 27 points and showed some life, like real life, in the second half of that game last week. Not to mention the defense. If you go back and watch it, the Chargers weren't really moving the football that well. You're talking 4 turnovers, 4 bad turnovers in the Jaguars' territory, turned into 27 points. And that's obviously going to be a recipe to be down 27-7 going into halftime. But they showed a lot of life. The defense really showed that they could make some stops. Patrick Mahomes is better than Justin Herbert. The Chiefs' offense is better than the Chargers' offense. It's going to be different. And as a result, it will be a high-shooting game. Ryan said he was looking at like a 34 – what'd you say, 34-27?
34-41.
34-41. I was looking at 34-27, so I also think it goes over. But as you just heard, 7-point spread there, so no, they don't cover.
A couple things that also we can touch on. One, speaking of the Chargers, it's awesome that they fired Joe Lombardi, their offensive coordinator and play caller. Maybe Justin Herbert can. The name that jumped off the page to me immediately, and the hot name swirling around that LA area is Frank Reich will take over the OC duties there. I think that would be a great fit for him. I think that would be awesome for Justin Herbert. But yeah, I think I'm surprised. I thought when they made the playoffs, I thought it might save Brandon Staley's job. But when they lost the way that they did, I was like, uh-oh, like there's no guarantee anymore. So I'm a little bit surprised that they didn't fire Brandon Staley as well, but he's going to be on a real short leash next year, in my opinion.
Yeah. You know, it don't make any sense to me. You were up 30 points, 27 points going out of halftime, and you run the ball 8 times throughout the whole second half.
That's part of why Lombardi got fired. I mean, there was no clock management from an offensive play calling perspective at all. Like, first off, without the help of 5 turnovers, pinning them deep in territory, like the Chargers offense just looked flat anyway. If they weren't given the football, inside the 30, I think 3 or 4 times. I think the Chargers, without those turnovers, get embarrassed in that game. Like, they get blown out of the water. They were saved a lot better.
I think a big thing that is getting forgotten about this whole situation is the Mike Williams effect, right? When Mike Williams is on the field, Justin Herbert is significantly more effective in the red zone. He plays a game that he doesn't need to play because they already knew they clinched the number 6 spot. He gets hurt. He doesn't play this game, and then you lose. I think the Mike Williams effect is absolutely huge, which is another surprising thing to me as to why Brandon Staley still has a job. That's just how I look at it.
Yeah, that was amazing to me that he allowed his starters to play that deep in a game, and then only after Mike Williams got hurt did he pull Justin Herbert. That's one of the big mysteries. But yeah, like I said, I think Brandon Staley's on an incredibly short leash here. So yeah, that's that. I mean, not much to say about the Chargers. Hopefully they find an offensive coordinator that can actually untap Justin Herbert's potential.
I think Frank Reich is a good name to do it.
Frank Reich would be a good hire. I think that'd be a good spot for him.
All right. Tim, you get the first pick on this one. The New York Football Giants are visiting the Philadelphia Eagles. Over-under is sitting at 48. Philadelphia is favored by 7.5 points. Before you jump into yours, Jalen Hurts was taken off the injury report Thursday afternoon. He was no longer on it. However, today's press conference with Nick Sirianni, he flat out said he's not 100%. Go.
I mean, I'm not taking no one but the Eagles here.
Hey, I'm not supposed to sway my opinion.
Don't get me wrong. I
The
think,
information was more for our fans than it was for the two of you. Obviously, I know that the two of you are following the same stuff I'm following.
I do think that the Giants defense is going to come out and play. We're going to have Lane Johnson back. I think he
He
practiced
practiced
this
in
week.
full. He was also off the injury report.
Good.
The only person that's on the injury report right now is Avonte Maddox.
That's what I thought, and he got to suit up. But don't only a toe. Get it fixed after the season.
It's the same injury that made Deion Sanders retire, and he just recently had the toe amputated. It's like a big deal. Like,
all right, fine.
Can you donate a toe to somebody?
mine have been broken several times, but they're up. Let's go.
Yeah, if it's not his left toe, because mine's irreparable, but like if it's the right toe, I got one of those. He needs it way more than I do.
So give me the Eagles. I think that over under going to go over the 48, but I don't think the Eagles going to cover 7.5 points. That's a lot for a rivalry game in a divisional round. So, but like I said, the Giants have everything going for them. That Daniel Jones played significantly better last weekend than I ever seen him played. Getting Saquon Barkley more involved and everything like that. The Eagles got to be prepared, and I think they're going to be prepared. So,
yeah. So it came out pretty. I don't know who said it, so I'm like struggling to find the name. That's why I'm pausing. Go ahead.
Logan Stone asks, "Who are we rooting for in the Eagles versus Giants game?"
I mean, all of our dogs had Eagle gear on. We got flags in the background.
Except for Allie's, who has a Buccaneers jersey on. There's some red shit on that Brent Selleck jersey.
That's why that dog is covered. Okay, that's why that dog is covered.
Yeah, I don't. Going back to what I was going for. So I don't know who said it earlier in the week. The reality is that the Eagles are such a good team this year that the only team that's going to beat the Eagles is the Eagles. If they're stepping on their own toes, they're getting in their own way, they absolutely could lose this game. However, I don't think that's going to be the case. They got the additional week of rest. Everybody is coming back healthy, except for the aforementioned Avonte Maddox. And even Lane Johnson said, I've got to.
I said, speaking of stepping on toes.
Yeah. Lane Johnson came out and said that he's got a little bit of discomfort, but overall he feels really good, which is promising. We do know that he needs surgery in the offseason, but the fact that he feels well enough to go is a really good sign. So yeah, I think Nick Sirianni is going to have that crew ready to go, and I'm looking forward to watching it. I also think they go over the 48 points. I think this is more of a shootout than other people are going to expect it to be. The Eagles had a very dry game plan in week 18 against the Giants. It was dry intentionally because Jalen Hurts was injured. It was dry intentionally because they probably realized the Giants could beat the Vikings and they're going to play 3 weeks later. So for those of you who are like, oh, well, the third stringers came out and put up 20 points on the Eagles and it was a close game, do not read into that. Go back to the previous game that they played where the Eagles blew their starters out of the water. And I think it'll be something similar to that. I do think they cover the 7.5 point spread. I think they win by somewhere in the 10. 31-21 jumped off the board to me when I was thinking about this game earlier. So give me the Eagles to cover and to go over the 48 point spread.
I think that the Giants are the second hottest team in the NFC coming into the playoffs. The Eagles kind of limped in. The Cowboys had their own struggles at the end of the regular season there. The only team playing better football than them coming into the playoffs is the 49ers. However, I don't think that they're the better team. I do think that the Eagles win this football game. I see it by a field goal, though. I think that this is going to be a dogfight. I think it's going to be a close game. This is the third time these teams have played each other, the second time in the last 3 weeks. I think that this is – I can't see a blowout here. They've just played too many games this year. They've seen each other too much. There's too much familiarity here. and Jalen Hurts not being at 100%. I think that he'll play fine. I think that he'll have a pretty good game. However, I think that this ends up like 24-21, 27-24, somewhere in that neighborhood. I think that this is going to be a real good game. Giants are playing a really good brand of football. And despite the fact that he has no weapons on the outside, Daniel Jones is playing outstanding football. I mean, you saw the meme that I sent out. He looked like white Mike Vick in the game against the Vikings. Like he did it all by himself. So, however, I just don't think that the Giants have the caliber of roster to keep up with guys like San Fran or Dallas or the Eagles. Like it's just not possible. They just don't have the weapons. So, but I shouldn't say it's not possible because anything's possible. However, I just wouldn't bet on it. So I'm taking the Eagles here not to cover.
All right. I get the game that I didn't want to pick first.
Oh, 5.5. Wow, that moved.
It did, yeah. I'm going to tell you why it moved. Bengals are visiting the Bills over under 49 points. Buffalo is favored by 5.5 points. Yesterday, it was 3.5 points. This afternoon, the Bengals ruled out left tackle Jonah Williams and right guard Alex Kappa against the Bills. And as such, the spread moved 2 points in the favor of Buffalo.
Okay, so before then, it moved first because the spread opened at 5. So it went from 5 to 3.5 back up to 5.5.
Well, there you go.
Wow.
Listen, it's worth noting Josh Allen came off of his worst playoff performance of his career. He turned the ball over 3 times. It resulted in 18 of the 31 points that the Dolphins got, making that game against the Dolphins last week a lot closer than it ever needed to be. I think he rebounds, and I think he rebounds in a really good, significant way. I talked to Allie before I came in here to sit down, and I said I believe that the Bengals are going to win this game. But now with the information that I have with Jonah Williams and Alex Kappa being out, that's a big deal. For an offensive line that already struggled to protect Joe Burrow and get Joe Mixon lanes, that's a big deal. And as such, I am changing my answer. I'm going to take the Bills. It'll be a shootout. It'll still be a shootout, so it'll go over. 5.5 is too many points. This game is going to be emotional. It's going to be a dogfight. It's going to be close. 3 points, 2 point type victory. Give me Buffalo to win by somewhere in the 2 to 4 point range, and for it to go over. Ryan.
I think this is the game to watch, the game on the slate. However, I don't think any of these games actually end up more than one score. Like if I was actually betting on these games, I wouldn't bet on any of them and end up by more than a 7-point difference. I think that these are some really good matchups across the board. I'm gonna go the Bills here. I think that they've got a little, as I've touched on before, both these teams got a little something extra to play for. And I'm going the Bills here strictly because it's in Buffalo. If it was in Cincinnati again, I would take the Bengals. The Bengals, in the first 10 minutes of that game, got off to a really fast start offensively. If we remember, they were kind of moving the football down the field a little bit, but that was with a healthy offensive line. So I can't see, this is such a tough game to pick. There's a world where the Bengals, this is a coin flip for me. I'm going the Bills today because they're the home team. So that's just kind of where I'm at. I don't really have any true analysis. These teams are Super Bowl contending teams with Super Bowl level winning quarterbacks, and any one of these teams, the representative from the Super Bowl could be in this game. Either team. So it's really not that common to say that in the NFL. So I'm looking forward to this game so much, though.
Yeah. So the other day I saw a Facebook video was like the past winners of the AFC South, AFC Conference Championship game. 2020 with the Chiefs, 2021 was the Bengals, and 2022 should be the Bills. Like it's been those 3 constant. Like they always make the playoffs now. What Joe Burrow there, like it's the top 3 teams in that whole conference. So it's like the Bills' turn, everyone's saying. So I'm going to go with the Bills. I think they're still DeMar, can't pronounce his last name.
Hamlin.
I think he might be in attendance at that stadium. I'm not too sure yet. And if he is, it's going to be really emotional.
He's still on oxygen.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
watched the last game from home, if I remember right.
yeah. I figured maybe like in a press box conference or something like that. But like if he is, it's going to be real emotional, and I think that Bills invite off of that. So give me the Bills. Definitely going over, but I don't think they're going to cover the 5.5.
Okay, we're all on the same page there.
Yeah. Truly a coin flip. Another game where the spread has moved.
Mm-hmm.
Where was it before? Because it was like this 4 hours ago.
It opened up at 3.5.
Okay. Cowboys visiting the 49ers over under 46.5. San Francisco is favored by 4 points. The Cowboys obviously coming off of that manhandling of the Buccaneers last week. However, this is not the same type of defense in San Francisco. So Ryan, you can go first, or you can tell one of us to go first.
I got it. I'm very confident picking the 49ers. I'm also very confident in picking the under, and I don't think that they cover. Like 20-17. That sounds like the game to me. The 49ers, they're the hottest team arguably in football going into the playoffs, right? I mean, they've won 10, 11 straight games now, and it doesn't seem to matter who's under center. You've got, Jimmy Garoppolo, you've got Brock Purdy. And people are, high on the Brock Purdy train, and I get it. Way too many casual people just give blind credit and blind blame to the quarterbacks in the league. But truly, that offensive system is set up to where if I was 4 inches taller, I could succeed at quarterback. I just can't see over the offensive lineman. That's obviously the only reason why I'm not an NFL quarterback. And Z Money, I'm glad that you brought that up, Z Money. He says Purdy hasn't faced a real defense. That's actually crap, because in the last 5 weeks of the season, he faced 2 top 10 defenses. One of them they put up 37 points on. So Brock Purdy has faced, enough defenses in the NFL that he still looks good. Washington and New Orleans both finished in the top 10 in defense this year. And they the Saints game was close, but they blew the Commanders out and scored a ton of points on them. So, but yeah, that's I feel confident, comfortable. I think the 49ers are better. Look, I'm going to say it, like the 49ers are playing better football than the Eagles. Like the Eagles limped into the playoffs. The Eagles are going to have to come out and make a real statement game against the Giants for me to comfortably say that they can beat the 49ers in the NFC Championship game, if that should be the matchup.
Yeah, I'm gonna go the opposite direction of Ryan. I think the Cowboys could pull it off last second field goal. Let me say that if they can't block Michael Parsons, it's gonna be a different game, and hopefully the 49ers have a way to block him, a scheme or something. He is really good at defensive end. I'm not saying he's not. But also the Cowboys corners aren't as good as everyone said there is. Like Diggs gives up a lot of big plays. I think like in the first 5 minutes of the Tampa Bay game, I saw him miss 5 tackles or something like that, like in the first 5 minutes. But yeah, give me the Cowboys. I would like to see a Cowboys-Eagles conference championship game.
I that would be great for the NFL, wouldn't it? But I think to his credit, I think Diggs has been better this year. I don't think that. I think he's been a lot better. Last year, he was getting burnt on the double move like nobody's business. And yes, AJ Brown caught him on 1-2, but I don't think it's happened nearly as frequently as it has in the past this year. So I think Diggs has been better this year.
I think he's spent some time in the over. Yeah, I got you. I think in the past season or so, Diggs has gotten much better at limiting the big play. He's still a ball hawk, but he stopped only being a ball hawk. If he knows he can't catch it, he's gotten to the point where he's trying to just swat it away or be tight. And I mean, kudos to him, right? So I'm taking the 49ers here, and I'm taking the 49ers, and I'm going to take the 49ers because of Brock Purdy. you guys are going to laugh at me. Listen, the defense is phenomenal. Christian McCaffrey is an elite talent running back. Debo Samuel is an elite level wide receiver. Brandon Ayuk is a serviceable wide receiver. The reemergence of Kittle with Brock Purdy has been nothing less than astounding. Look, Brock Purdy became just the second rookie quarterback to have at least 200 passing yards and 2 passing touchdowns in a playoff win. The first was a guy in 1937 by the name of Sammy Bowe with the Washington Redskins. He also became the first rookie quarterback in NFL history with 4 total touchdowns in a playoff game. He doesn't look like it's too big for him. He doesn't. He looks like an NFL quarterback. Mr. Irrelevant is extremely relevant. Give me Brock Purdy, and this is bold prediction of the week, to have 3 total touchdowns and to really stick it to that Cowboys defense that's so good. Because I think they're undermining Brock Purdy. And Ryan already touched on this. Kyle Shanahan has made this offense foolproof for this kid, and he's making it look like it is, in fact, foolproof. So give me the 49ers here. Brock Purdy shows out, like really shows out. Dak Prescott struggles against a really elite defense. The Cowboys lose. Niners win. They go over the 46.5 points. 7-point victory, so they do cover the spread.
There's a comment in here in the comments. First off, for those of you that are listening to this on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, there's like an all-out war in our chat right now.
There really is.
It's an all-out battle. I don't know if the YouTube people can see the Twitch comments or whatever. Like this is an all-out battle right here. We've got one guy on Twitch coming in and saying the Niners are going to the Super Bowl. Purdy and Kittle is a watered-down Mahomes and Kelsey. We've got the Cowboys fan who's just high off the victory from last week, doesn't realize that San Fran's on paper a better football team than the Cowboys, and that's fine. I would refuse to admit it as an Eagles fan too. But
I see that.
Like,
I see San Fran better.
There's an all-out war in our chat right now, and I love it. Like, I love the interaction, guys. There's nobody, being rude, nobody harassing each other. This is the kind of banter we like to see. So it's awesome. Thanks for tuning in and watching the show. Another point was made by, I know somebody's a San Fran fan, Taylor. Thanks for tuning in, buddy. They're healthy. If you think about the 49ers 11-game win streak, how many different injuries did they have throughout that point in time? I think Kittle missed a game or 2 in there. Debo missed a few weeks. Ayuk might have missed a game. I don't know. Elijah Mitchell was out for, several weeks. It's that they've had injury time and time again, and they just win. They're winning football games. They're a really good team. They ride the back of that defense, and they get the ball to their playmakers on offense. So people keep saying Brock Purdy hasn't faced a good defense. Well, I mean, he faces them every day in practice, the number 1 defense in the NFL. So there's nobody better on defense than the 49ers this year. So he faces them every day in practice. Yep. And I would love to see Trent Williams and Mike McGlinchey, Notre Dame guy, lock up that Micah Parsons to Marcus Lawrence.
Listen, I hope I'm wrong. I wouldn't mind seeing the 49er Eagles conference championship game either. I think the NFL had the bigger plan.
To go back to your point, it would be a hell of a story, right? So week 6, the Eagles and Cowboys play. Cowboys have their backup quarterback in. Week 16, the Eagles and Cowboys play. The Eagles have their backup quarterback in. It is setting up the stage for what would be a really, really cool storyline in the NFL. And if it does happen, like, fine. Ryan knows that I'm one of these big guys that there are like storylines in the NFL that are rigged. I don't think it's this one.
I think the NFL's rigged.
I think storylines, and I don't think game to game is rigged. I think that there are certain storylines in the NFL that are rigged. Absolutely. And if you look back at the last few years, it's really, really tough to refute what I say there.
Yeah, but I mean, stuff like that happens in all sports. Like, you can't rig baseball, and you see great storylines there all the time.
That's fair. That's fair.
True.
It's easier to rig the NFL, though, isn't it?
For sure. I mean,
Yeah, it's just easier to rig the NFL.
It's damn near impossible to tell somebody to go hit a walk-off home run because it's hard enough to hit a baseball as it is.
Exactly.
I think for the NFL, like, obviously, I do think the 49ers win. I'm saying for the NFL, an Eagles-Cowboys NFC Championship game would be an absolute, like, banger. I think that would probably be the most watched NFC Championship game in my lifetime. I don't know what the viewings are for
Yeah.
the other ones, but I would bet that this one would break it.
I would agree with that.
Definitely.
I would agree with that. But no, to your point, Just Killer. I took the Niners. Ryan took the Niners. Timmy took the Cowboys. And I'm confident. I'm confident in the 49ers this week. I think the Cowboys. They were so amped up to get into the playoffs and show that they weren't that team that was going to choke. I think they got it out of their system. You know what I'm saying? I really believe it.
The Niners are like I said, the Niners are playing the best football arguably in the NFL right now. Like to win 11 straight games in the NFL is a really hard task to do. Like with the injuries that they've had all season. So now that they're all healthy, as an Eagles fan, us holding the number 1 seed and yes, having the best record in football, that scares me, especially with the way the Eagles limped into the playoffs. So that I would much rather as an Eagles fan, I'd much rather face the Cowboys than the 49ers.
Which is fine. You said it earlier. Though. If the Eagles come out and make a statement game against the Giants, I'll feel significantly better about it. Like if the Giants don't even get on the scoreboard till the second half and the Eagles have already got a pretty sizable lead, I will feel much, much better about the 49ers coming to Philadelphia.
All right. So since we've all ranked these games kind of close, 1 through 4, 1 being your most confident pick, 4 being your least confident. Like where do you guys stand with these games? Because
I'll go first.
Yeah, go ahead, Tim.
The most confident are the Chiefs, and then the Eagles, and then the Bills, and then the Cowboys. The least confident in the Cowboys.
Okay, so I've got the Chiefs, Eagles, Niners, Bills.
That's the list that I have. I'm more confident in the Niners beating the Cowboys than I am the Bills beating the Bengals.
Correct. Yes.
But I mean, outside of, I think it's a tier, right? So tier 1 is the first 2 games, right? I'm probably like 75% confident in both of those, where I'm like 55% in the bottom tier. I'm like, oh man. I think these are all going to be great playoff matches. I think regardless of like what the score outcomes are, I think that these are going to be some good playoff matches. Like, let me ask you guys this.
Let me ask you guys this. Were you surprised that the 1 seeds who had the bye are playing on Saturday? Wouldn't you think the NFL would want to give the teams that played last week the additional day of rest? Right?
But everybody except the teams that played last week. I mean, even if you flip it, the teams that played last week also, like the teams on Saturday also played last week. Like there's no way around it. They probably want to get the number 1 seed in there, like get them on the field.
I mean, I understand that. My thought process was you wanted to play the 1 seeds on Sunday, play the whoever it is that they're playing. That's my point, though, is wouldn't you want to give the Jaguars and the Giants an additional day of rest? Why wouldn't you play those games on Sunday? I thought it was weird that the Eagles and Chiefs were playing both on Saturday.
But
that's
what I play Saturday too.
But flip it, because then the teams you in your scenario would have playing on Saturday also played last week, so somebody's getting screwed.
Yeah.
I mean, I get that, but my point is because the Chiefs and Eagles are so rested, wouldn't you want to give the opposing teams to those games an additional day of rest? That was my point.
No,
but I understand what you're saying, that the Bengals, Bills, Cowboys, Niners all play anyway. I get it.
In the grand scheme of things, the Eagles and Chiefs have been off for 2 weeks. What's one day going to do?
That's fair. Yeah, that's
fair.
I mean,
the person
they earn the right to get their breaks.
The team that's really getting screwed the most is the Cowboys. They played Monday night.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they're playing Sunday night, just like any other NFL week.
Yeah,
they're missing a whole day of rest compared to the 2 days
compared
of rest,
to the other teams. Yeah, I mean,
compared to the 49ers, 2 days of rest.
Yeah, screwed there. He's not saying like it's necessarily a horrible thing, but like in terms of against their peers, yeah. So the Bills played on Sunday, and they're playing on Sunday. The Bengals played on Sunday as well, and they're playing on Sunday again.
The 49ers, Seahawks
played on Saturday,
and the Jags and Chargers.
Yeah. So the Cowboys are the team that really get the short end of the stick here. Got it.
But
another reason they're going to lose.
But I got nothing else. I think it's a pretty good show, guys.
Yep.
Bill Penn.
That'll do it for us here on BSing Sports, a part of the BSing Network, where we do a little BS and we talk a whole lot of sports. Have a great night and go Birds.